these people in the Bible, they like ask Jesus this question. They go, well, like, how do you pray? Jesus goes, well, and this is one of the very few times he ever instructs anybody on really how to pray. So he goes, well, when you pray, pray like this. He's talking about the Lord's Prayer. When you pray, pray like this. He goes through the whole Lord's Prayer in that scripture. And my question kind of is, do you think it's entirely possible that the Lord's Prayer is a really good recovery prayer? I mean, like if you look that up and you go, is the Lord's Prayer a really good recovery prayer? There was honestly lots of conversation in our discernment group, but zero help coming from anywhere. No one's written, and to my knowledge, no one's written a book on that. No one's written an article on that. Like, it just wasn't there. I'm thinking, if this works, this might be a pretty good book. I'm not going to write it, but it might be a pretty good book. You know, is the Lord's Prayer really a pretty decent recovery prayer? And have you ever thought about it that way? The piece of that ought to like kind of jog something in us is like, why is it, which I found really bizarre early in the game of my recovery and going to AA and Al-Anon, I found that like bizarre that they close these meetings with the Lord's Prayer. It's like, never would have expected that, never saw that coming. It's like, I never would have thought that would have been a part of it. I mean, in my mind, in the early days, I really thought that AA and Al-Anon were pretty much secular groups. It's stupid, but I mean secular groups. And I thought, I'll go for a little while, obviously to get some tips on how to fix things. But you know, I'm not really going to go to a group that's not very spiritual. Man, what did I learn? I'm learning like, in a lot of ways, those groups are like two of the most spiritual places on the planet and some of the most best church I've ever experienced in my life. I really think that. So let's go through this prayer and see what happens. So the first part of the prayer says this: Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. By the way, I tried to find like a modern translation, but honestly, I didn't really like any of them. I don't think they say it as well as what this particular prayer says. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed, holy be your name. What's that speaking to in recovery? It's speaking to the speakable, unspeakable, everything about God. It's speaking to the direct love that God has for us. It's speaking to the way that God can transform lives. It's speaking to everything, all the power, all the majesty, all the glory, that all is in this heart of God. It's speaking to the fullness of God's heart for you and for me. It's speaking to the reality that while God has that kind of holiness, He is writing our hearts, He's writing our names in His heart. It's all of that. And then it's so much more. But the powerless part, when you put that up against the holiness part of God, it really does take you there. And God is saying to you tonight, that part of the prayer is important because powerlessness takes you to so many more of my gifts. If you will simply sit down and let me begin to speak into your heart, so much more stuff is going to happen to you than you trying to like slug it out on your own. That's a part of powerlessness that I think we don't think about a lot. It's like, well, the powerlessness, it sucks because it deals with our pride. All that's true. It deals with our sense of control. All true. But there are gifts involved in powerlessness, aren't there? There are real gifts involved in understanding the glory, actually, of powerlessness, because when we stop trying to show, God shows up. When we stop working so hard and so fiercely to go, I got to make a name for myself. I got to do this. I got to accomplish this. I got to get him to like me. I got to get her to like me. I got to fix this. I got to fix that. I got to make more. I got to do less. Gotta. And God goes, What would it be like if you tried on the powerlessness coat for size? Think about the powerlessness coat. It really is kind of one size fits all. You know, like if you're a really large person, 3XL or whatever, that coat fits you fine. If you're a, what is the smallest women's? Extra small? Extra, is that what it is? I don't know. What is it? Extra small. They really have that? Is that a thing? Okay, good. You know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because the fit of that coat is always going to be the right fit for you. And the only time it's not the right fit for you is when you put the coat aside, go, I don't really want any part of this. When you go, I don't think I really need this. However, you find a way to not accept the coat. But the coat is always going to fit. The coat is always going to fit because God breathed our first breath into us. And so God knows our hearts. God knows our thoughts. God knows our needs. God knows what we're afraid of. God knows what we're excited about. God knows what our desires are. And that's why that coat is a perfect fit. So the powerlessness coat just fits perfectly if we'll let it. I think that's why, including myself, a lot of people, it's working that first step is like over a year. It's over a year. And for more people, working that first step is the first real path to actual emotional, spiritual, physical, and mental freedom. Don't be in a rush to get off that step. Soak it all in. Enjoy what you're learning. There's no real rush. You can live in that step for a very, very long time. So that's the first part of that prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, holy or hallowed be your name. Here's the next part. This is the restoration part. That's what I'm calling it. Here's what it says. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. I want in my life what I think might be happening in heaven. What kind of a prayer is that? I want you to imagine. I don't know what your image of heaven is like. I had a really good image of heaven, with my parents, what they told me, because my parents were I remember one time I had this really, I guess the nice word is difficult. Maybe that's right. Anyway, difficult we'll use. Second or third grade Sunday school teacher. I never forgot her. Never liked her. She had about 20-some kids in the class. I mean, for Lutheran Church, that was a big deal, but my goodness, this woman was bitter. And she painted a picture of heaven. This is what she said. She goes, well, heaven's like this. When you get to heaven, you're going to march up there with some other people that you probably will not know. And I don't know whether this is true or not true. She goes, you won't know anybody up there. You won't have any relationships. And she goes, and people will be totally foreign to you. And she goes, she said this, she goes, for the first week, imagine standing there at the gate like this. She goes, for the first week, you're going to go to bed every night and you're going to be afraid. She goes, then you're going to get up the next day and you're going to be pounding. This is my image as a little kid. You're going to be pounding on the gate going, can I please come in? Can I please come in? Can I please come in? And she goes, you're going to see Jesus there. You're going to see God there. You're going to see the Holy Spirit there. And they're going to be standing there about like this. She goes on. I mean, I remember this like it was yesterday. She goes on and she goes, and you know what? You got to prove to God whether you can do this or not. You got to prove to God whether you're worthy to come into those gates or not. And even when you prove that, if you prove that, God may just turn around and go, no, you're out. I'm like, I think back on that and I go, that woman should have been shot, man. Who teaches a little kid like that? I think that might be why I decided to be a pastor, was I had a better shot than your average person. Holy smokes, though. You're telling a third grade kid that? What? There was no restoration in that whatsoever. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What does that mean? It means the exact opposite of what that third grade Sunday school teacher taught me. I'm looking forward, God, to what you're going to put in front of me as the ultimate gift. I'm looking forward to the glory of heaven. I'm looking forward to the peace of heaven. I'm looking forward to the power of heaven. I'm looking forward to the restoration of heaven. I'm looking forward to having, like what Revelation talks about, I'm looking forward to having like all my pain, all my sorrow, all the death around me, all the sadness washed away. That's what I'm looking for. And when someone presented that perspective to me, it was like life-changing. Because from third grade for a while, I really wasn't positive for several years that I wanted to be in heaven. I didn't think it was really a good place. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. What that's saying is, you know what, God? Whatever's happening to me right now, however much pain I'm in right now, do you think you could bring at least a slice of heaven here? Like, I don't know what your image or impression of heaven is, but I have a very specific one. I really think that God regularly shows all of us, slices of what heaven is like. Like, I've had conversations with people where I'm like almost positive I'm standing like kind of in the light of heaven. It's odd to explain, but I've had those experiences where I feel like this guy's talking to me, this person is doing this person is in the middle of dying, whatever is happening. It's been a lot of things. Some of the strangest ways. Babies being born, lots of odd experiences, all different. But one thing that keeps them all together is you begin to feel like I just had an experience where I began to see a glimpse anyway of what heaven is like, what is going on in heaven. It doesn't last long, but man, those kinds of experiences for me anyway, I've never forgotten them. I can name them all to you along the way. I just haven't. It's like that. That's what that prayer is about. Basically the prayer is, bring heaven here. Bring heaven here. Bring it here, God. Bring it here. That's the restoration piece. The quickest way that I've ever found to get the enemy to shut up and get out of my life is to pray this prayer, this part of this prayer. Bring heaven here. And so as far as the enemy goes, shut up. Shut up. I'm not listening to you. I'm not doing this with you. I'm not playing with you. I'm standing behind the shield of Jesus right now, and I'm saying, bring heaven here. When you are completely confused, bring heaven here. When you have no idea what to do with your life, just that one piece of this prayer. You know what, God? Bring heaven here. Show me how to love myself. Show me how to love the people around me. Show me how to restore my life. Show me how to start over. Show me how to see what I'm not seeing right now. Right now, everything looks black. Everything looks dark. Everything looks hopeless. But God, since you put that in this prayer, there must be a different way. There must be other opportunities. There must be the possibility of you bringing heaven here. I truly think that restoration piece is the deal. I think it's powerful. Let's kind of go on. This is the next thing the prayer says. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. So the daily bread part is pretty clear, like it's provision. But the thing is, in this prayer, obviously, Jesus isn't just talking about, I need enough daily food. But sometimes it really is that simple. Sometimes you're praying for, can I just have enough energy? Can I just have enough hope? Can you just give me a little sliver of peace? Can you just hold my hand? Jesus, can you hold my hand and just like walk me through what is turning out to be a hell of a day? Can you do that? Will you do that? And that's what you're asking for in this prayer. Give us our daily bread. I mean, sure, it might mean daily bread if your physical hunger is overwhelming, but it can mean so many more things. Daily bread is all the stuff we need in our life to be full and healthy and complete. Daily bread is love. Daily bread is acceptance. Daily bread is validation. Daily bread is grace. Daily bread is honesty. Daily bread is encouragement. Daily bread is flat out love. A lot of people have never experienced daily bread in their entire life. And they've said that prayer 700 million times without knowing it. Give us our daily bread. So, the thing is, if you stop that prayer and God said, okay, you know what? Here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to spread this table out right here. I'm going to bring all the stuff you need right now today, and I'm going to lay it on this table in front of you. Would you take it, or would you be suspicious? Would you believe it, or would you run? Would you stand still long enough to see what God is going to do and how God is going to do it and what it's going to be like if you sit there in front of that daily bread, whatever that is, whatever that means for you, and would you take it? Daily bread is whatever right now today you're actually hungry for. That's what it is. So you might not get the daily bread you're looking for because it might not be healthy for you, but daily bread involves relationships. It involves being loved. It involves being accepted. It involves having the conviction to be able to stand up for yourself. It involves being able to understand there is a way out. It involves being able to understand hope. It involves being able to understand purpose. A lot. Daily bread is a lot more than what it sounds like. Give us today our daily bread. What you're also saying in this prayer is, you know what, God? I need you to give us this bread because the truth is we really can't give it to ourselves. We've tried all of our ways. We've tried all the food. We've tried all the meals. We've tried all the buffets. But you know what, God? We need your bread. We need your bread. It's kind of like, why, when they first started the Lord's Supper, they would do this thing where they would have like this huge feast. And if they got done with the feast, then they would have the Lord's Supper. There's something kind of interesting about that. Like when you are completely full physically of all the food you think you could have ever wanted or whatever, or pleasantly filled, that's when the real meal starts to happen. Because the pieces of you and the pieces of me that end up being empty after we fill our guts with everything else but Jesus is where Jesus is going to live. And for every one of us, there are plenty of places in our lives where only Jesus can fill that hole in our soul, and only Jesus can satisfy our hunger. This piece also deals with forgiving our trespasses and forgiving those who trespass against us. So it also deals with the mighty reality of what? Resentments. Resentments. Forgive me, God, for the way that I've wronged you, but also, God, forgive me the way that you've wronged me. And now I have a clean slate, and now I have a new brother to be with because it's wiped free. And like if you pray this prayer, the thing is too, it does go with the steps, this prayer, I think, so well, because what do these steps teach you? Handle your business, handle your emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical business right away up front, on the daily. Don't put it off. Handle resentments on the daily. Go to the last steps. Continue to take a personal inventory when I was wrong. It doesn't say might admit it, think about admitting it. It says promptly admit it. Promptly admit it. Why is that? Because God knows us. God knows if we live with the resentment long enough, we'll always find a way for it to be somebody else's problem. Won't we? That's our nature. Not me, God. It just can't be me. It can't really be me. It's like, sometimes it's true when you do that step. Do you actually have a role in this? Well, no, I've examined my heart. I've examined my soul. No, I really don't have a role. Well, okay, so does Jack have a role? He does have a role. Okay, so now, can you forgive Jack? Can you deal with your resentment right now? Can you forgive Jack? Well, that's a little crazy. I mean, like, if Jack comes to me and asks me for forgiveness, sure. Doesn't say that. It doesn't say that. When we have to deal with resentments, we can just drop the resentment and just continue to live on. We might not, it might be possible that we cannot have a relationship with that person, but we can definitely have freedom from the resentment that they have caused us. Forgive those who trespass against us, and forgive us, God, for the stuff that's broken in us. That's all part of that prayer. Isn't it interesting that that petition goes along with the daily bread part? Like, do you not see where this forgiveness work, this understanding of who we are and where we are and how we're feeling is a part of daily bread? Can we not see that, like, the daily bread part is going right to the heart of the matter? The daily bread part is, man, that is part of our daily bread. Not eating bad stuff for us, not eating stuff that makes us and keeps us sick. Not eating stuff that makes us and keeps us sick. The next piece says this: lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Goes directly to what? Leadability. It goes directly to how teachable am I? How leadable am I? Please lead me not into temptation. What you're really saying is, God, when I get into temptation, I need you to, like, grab me by the collar and pull me back. You know, that's what you're saying. And then it also says, and also deliver us from evil. Deliver us from the hands of the evil one. Leadability. Am I leadable? Am I teachable? Am I worth believing? Do I believe that I'm worth believing that God is really going to teach me and lead me? Am I willing to let God do that work? Am I willing to be a follower? I don't know how many times Jesus tells people when he's doing his 3 years of ministry, follow me. How many times does he say that? A ton. How many people have problems with that? A ton. Because we want to believe that we're more powerful to overcome temptations. We want to believe that evil's out there, but we can beat that. We're more powerful than that. This says, no, you can't, and no, you can't. No, you can't run away from temptation, and no, you can't run away from evil. You got to be delivered from temptation, and you got to be delivered from evil. Leadability. And here's the last part. It says this: for thine is the kingdom, and thine is the power, and thine is the glory, for an ever and ever. Amen. This has to do with, like, turning my life over. I turn my life over to your power, Jesus. I turn my life over to your glory. I turn my life over to you forever and ever. Because when I turn my life over, what does it do? When I turn my life over, it yields more for me than I can possibly imagine. When I become willing to turn my life over, it becomes more of a life for me than I can possibly imagine. Step 3, made a decision to do what? Turn my life and my will over to the care of God as I understand God. That's what the last part of that prayer means. I don't know what you guys think, but I really am starting to think that this is one heck of a recovery prayer. I think it's powerful stuff. I think it's something we can all do on a daily basis when we start to think about it that way. I think we would at least be taking however long it takes to pray that prayer, 3 minutes or whatever, out of our day, and put ourselves back in touch with who we are and who we belong to and how we can stay healthy. Thanks for being a part of this. In Jesus' sweet name, amen.